Then, moving on from that pony, on to the next pony. That's a 3. So we get to look at Medi Bobo this week.
This is Sweetheart and Mint Chocolate. And they are...
Also, real quick, I'm pretty sure people can notice, but Mint Chocolate is the green one, and Sweetheart is the not green one, with the heart on their butt.
What? No.
Well, first, let me start with Mint Chocolate. Or you may know them well as Milk Tea's brother. He owns a sweet shop, and his special talent is making sweets, or chocolatey, minty stuff. And he made a sweet that was really good, and he got his talent. I mean, like, that's pretty plain and simple. Simple shit right there.
Nothing wrong with that. Simplicity is always good.
He is a calm, supportive, and respectful person, and he's a nice guy. He's like a really sweet dude. Really sweet dude who makes really good sweets. And he loves to eat them as well. And then you have Sweetheart, or sometimes called Sweetie. Oh. This is too cute. He was born in Cloudsdale. Now he lives in Manhattan with Mint because they are in a relationship, and he is a relationship counselor.
Excellent.
He is a nervous, timid, open-minded, and relatable type of pony. And he got his cutie mark when he helped two ponies mend their relationship when they were arguing, and they ended up getting married, which is what triggered his cutie mark. Which I have a question is, like, did they get married on the spot like that?
No, they had to go to Canada, actually.
Well, I mean, like, I can just imagine, like, oh, yeah, you guys really shouldn't fight. And they're like, yeah, you're really right. And then the one pony just gets down on one hoof, is like, will you marry me? And he's like, oh, wow, okay. Well, I guess I'm pretty good at this shit. The tragedy of his character is that he is actually really hard. He has trouble getting into long-lasting relationships because of his nervousness and shyness.
You know, I've noticed that a lot of psychologists are really bad in their actual field.
Oh, yeah, like, they understand their field when it comes to anyone else, but when it comes to them, I don't fucking know how to fix me. He stumbled into Mint's shop one day, and he just started talking, and they hit it off pretty well, and then Mint asked Sweet out, and they've been together for a year now. His faults are severe anxiety, and that's about it. So, I also love, before I move on to aesthetics, but I just want to say how much I love their cutie marks, because they're really, really good. Even though the chocolate mint thing is that little extra detail on the bite was not required, but I'm okay with it, because it's not that big of a detail. But I love fucking Sweetheart's cutie mark so much.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, like, for a pony who talks about love, a heart in a speech bubble. Oh, it's
just so simple.
So good. I love it. Mwah. The good things about these characters, I find, is that their characters seem to play off each other very well, where you have a very calm, happy, respectful pony, and a very timid, shy nature type of pony, and they play off each other very well. The only issues I really found when I was looking at these OCs, there wasn't really enough story about their relationship. Like, we get they talked, and then they hit it off, and one asked the other out, and then, a year later, they're still together.
Yeah, I could use a little more in the just because of the episode where, I don't know, I need a little bit more on the couples.
Yeah, especially after that romantic comedy Smooth brought in.
Yeah, God, I was laughing and crying.
But yeah, I really
at the same time.
Moving on to aesthetics, though, I really like these characters' designs. I think the color schemes here are fantastic. Like, the Mint Chocolate, he has a nice minty chocolatey look to him. He's like plain and simple unicorn. Oh wow.
Did you bring on a Pegasus for Earth?
Shit.
No.
He's very nice and plain, and I like it. And it's simple, and it's not in my face with like, oh, this is a very abrasive green that you're gonna hate. It's a nice light green. It's mint green. I like it.
I don't think I'm ever going to get tired of mint chocolate color palettes, or mint-ish color palettes at all. I just like mint. Mint is good.
And just looking at him, you can kind of see the relationship to milk tea. And then, like, the only thing that I don't understand about Sweetheart's character is his little antennas.
Yeah, you know, there's another pony. There's another Pegasus.
Forward.
There's another Pegasus with antennas like that I know. I mean, ugh, gross.
Yeah, it's like if Smooth's hair moved forward.
Yeah.
And I think it looks fine, and I like it. It looks like, though, his eyebrows are pink as well, so I wonder if his natural hair color is pink and he dyes it blue.
It looks like cotton candy.
I like them. I like their colors. I like the story. I like,
Most useful episode of Euro C Sucks.
Yes, indeed.
I apologize.
The episode where we never critique anything or give any advice because everything was already perfect.
We're critiquing it just in a positive way.
The whole part that you were talking about earlier about the cutie mark on Mint is a little bit over detailed. I totally agree with that. I find that the actual darker lines are a little much, along with the bite is a little too detailed.
I'm going to go against the darker lines part, but I'm going to agree with you on the bite.
I think the outline and the bite could go.
Yeah, the outline could go, but the darker lines definitely need to stay.
On the top, those are fine.
Yeah. Well, maybe just one of them instead of two.
I think two
They're
is
like
fine.
chocolate contour lines. They're contour lines. I've never really liked that short, spiky tail thing.
Yeah, it's really... I don't like it either.
It works on Big Mac, but not really on any pony else. Yeah.
At all. And
I've never liked...
I don't think it really makes sense in this case either.
Yeah.
Also,
I mean, yeah. The other Mint's tail seems a little short to me as well. It seems like it could be longer, but I mean...
It looks like it doesn't really match the mane either, because the mane is so poofy, I guess. It's so full.
On Mint?
And the tail is so skinny.
It's sparse. It's, not enough.
Yeah, I guess a fatter tail he could do with.
So the only real problem I have with it is tails.
Yeah, and for Sweetheart, the pink thing, again, just, why? The pink, and I'm like, why? But...
I don't know if I like the blue, actually. I think I'd rather see... Then again, it would just be Pegasus Pinkie Pie, but...
I like it, a lot. Well, I mean, they're more tan than they are pink. They're like a peachy coat color, and I think
I'm not going against the color palette. I'm just like, why the pink though? Like how it's used here.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. I like the colors. It
seems like it's downplaying the pink, but it's trying to say, oh hey, look, the pink. It's the front of his face, and it's going out, and it's like, whoa, but it's not important.
Yeah.
Well, the antennas?
Because if it was important, it'd also be in the tail, because, matching tails and manes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a little bit of detail thrown in without any real... Not like you threw it in carelessly, but you had an idea, but you didn't follow through with the tail all the way.
It hurts my conformity.
Yeah, a little bit of continuity, maybe. But everything else is pretty damn good.
So yeah, I think these ponies are adorable, and I really like them, and I think Silverboy is becoming one of my favorites. Because they just keep submitting great OCs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hashtag needs more spooks.
So then, thank you, Medi, for bringing on those two ponies. We're going to be taking a look at the ponies I brought to the party that are Spectrum Inkwell and Quill Inkwell. Inkwell being a
family name,
taken on name. Yeah, taking on a name taking it through marriage.
Besides cakes.
I'm going to first talk about the female pony. The female pony being the Spectrum Inkwell. As we mentioned earlier, Inkwell is just her married name. Before, it was just Spectrum. and normally she just signs her art with her maiden name. She is a pony who is a young adult, or as a human/anthro, she would be 21 years old. So that's kind of a nice little, relative thing. Slightly taller than the main six. Human anthro, she would be 5'9". Her talent is that she's a natural artist, which means that most artistic fields she excels without effort, which kind of gets a little bit on the Mary Sue kind of side, but we'll move on from that. She likes art, food, eating / cooking, tea, acting, collecting things, romance, acquaintances, antiques, video games, her husband, gardening, swimming, nerd stuff, let's see what else, and lots of shows and movies. She dislikes bullies, fighting, violence, and the cold. She also dislikes horror movies, sports, except for swimming, being away from home for long periods of time, and being separated from her husband for long periods of time. When she was 5, or she was born in, I believe, Rainbow Falls, and shortly after her birth, her dad left her mother, and she had to live with her mother and grandmother until she was about 5, when her mother remarried and had a younger brother. She never really knew her, actual father. He was kind of out of the picture. And then, again, her mother divorced her stepdad at the age of 10, and then went back to living with her grandmother, living with her mother and her brother also at the time. They were going from pretty much house to house trying to, stay. I guess her mother had a hard time keeping a house or something like that. I don't know. It was something like they were always moving for some odd reason. And thus, in this case, it always meant that Spectrum had to be changing schools. Which means she never really got to make a whole lot of friends, but for some odd reason, it didn't matter what school she went to, she would always be bullied for some reason. Anything from someone pouring sour milk on her at school, pulling her hair as she falls, or pulling her mane as she falls down a flight of stairs, and other relentless bullying things that are just completely, just not cool, typical bullying stuff. She was pretty much bullied all the way through school until she met her first friend, Fresco Maddie. They were best friends, and she was her only friend for 12 long years until Fresco portrayed her in the worst way, and they were no longer friends and never will be again. I'm like, okay. Her love life actually kind of mirrored that way as well, going from abusive relationship to abusive relationship, until finally meeting, meeting Quill Inkwell.
Quillinkle.
Finally finding someone that actually cares and, is concerned about things, and then eventually becoming married. Now, Inkwell, on the other hand, much like Spectrum, is a pony young adult, or as a human anthro, he's 21. He's also slightly taller than most ponies, about Trender Hoof height, which I really like that, but not as scrawny as Trender Hoof, apparently. So that's a nice kind of frame of reference. Their talent is that they are a sci-fi / fantasy novel writer. He really enjoys writing about dragons and other things, and loves adding interesting twists on ideas or genres in his novels. His likes include, surprise, surprise, Spectrum, his spaniel, I assume that's Cocker Spaniel, like a dog, Ash, the spaniel's name is Ash, art, reading, some sports like running and kayaking, nerd stuff, candy, Legos, music, and video games. They dislike boring video games, spinach, being lied to, cheaters, slow flyers, fighting with Spectrum, being nagged incessantly, and people moving his stuff. He grew up a fairly happy child, but with somewhat of a strict upbringing due to his father's military job. Him and his family moved around Equestria quite a lot until they finally settled in... I'm kind of sad that it only says Britain. I wish there was a pony pun right there, but Britain. He now lives there with his wife Spectrum. About half of the time lives in Rainbow Falls for her so she can be close to her family. So as a kid, Quill grew up somewhat happy. Occasionally it was hard because of his father's strictness in his upbringing and moving around a lot. But he made do with his fairly happy family. While he was younger, his father sent him off to a boarding school, which he hated and was bullied. And it's kind of the same story as Spectrum about how it's being bullied, but Inkwell kind of stood up for himself a little bit more. I'm sorry, Inkwell. Quill. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Inkwell.
Quill. Sorry. Quill stood up for himself a little bit more, but it pretty much is the same story. Eventually, I'm not able to find any information about how, like, these two met, but either way, yeah. So Quill is super special talent is writing. He can write many things very well, but enjoys sci-fi fantasy writing the best. He got his cutie mark at a normalish age, like most Colts, maybe a bit later, when he finally decided this was his destiny. He always loved reading, and especially sci-fi fantasy, but it took him some time to realize that was his super special talent. Until he read the Spooks novels and fell in love with them and became inspired by them. He wanted to write and thus gained his cutie mark, which is a quill writing on an open scroll.
Spooks? Wait, as in
Spooks.
like spooks?
Spooks, as in SPOOK apostrophe S.
Spooks. So the pony who wrote them is named Spook.
No. Who is Spook?
A lengthy backstory for both of these characters about their troubled and chaotic past, never being able to find a home of their own until finally meeting each other and finding some true love in this torn up, mixed up world that is Equestria. They finally marry and, live together and do the love thing.
I don't know, long-winded. I mean, like, I understand, like, the idea is, like, oh, you have this character, and she's gone through tons of shit, and you have this other character, and he's gone through a few things, and so they finally find each other, and they actually like each other, and they play off each other pretty well.
Yeah. Honestly, for story, I've seen this a lot, and this seems like it's a story that's actually like just real life events put into the pony universe, and a lot of people do that with their OCs. And honestly, I understand. It does. I understand that you want to have your ponies have good backgrounds, and it's really cool.
I am the opposite, actually. I dislike it when it's just excessively describing events that like always happen anyway. Like maybe it's just these subjects, and maybe I'm just a giant hypocrite. I don't know.
But yeah, actually, I was about to say that honestly, it's okay to model your pony after real life events or after real life you, but summarize it. Like you don't need the whole thing.
We're people and we understand, I guess.
Yeah. So it's really cool to have real life events put into your OCs and real life personality traits and stuff, but just summarize it a little bit.
Maybe it's just us, and we're on an OC review show where we get like half of the characters that are bullied.
Yeah.
But also, I don't remember seeing a whole lot about how these two ponies met. But so if I'm lacking, if I just missed it, and I apologize. But if it's not something that I was actually sent or informed me of, I just forgot, then feel free to go ahead and make that story, because that's something else that can really show the bond of these two ponies, other than the fact that they're hugging on each other and clearly showing the love.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just my incredibly poor memory again already, but I don't really remember them having a lot about both of them. It was just kind of
this one, that one.
I think I missed out on a lot of information, but I also don't think I actually skipped over anything about how they met. But then again, I could be wrong. So if you sent it, I apologize if I'm missing it. But if you didn't and it's not there, then feel free to go ahead and add that, because that's a crucial part. Anyway, moving on to aesthetic of this pony. I really like these two ponies. One is bright and colorful. The other one is kind of dark and not so colorful. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Kim or Crown, who we had the rainbow-maned OC.
I think it was Kim.
Because I think it was Kim, where she brought on the rainbow-maned OC. And this is another style that's a rainbow-maned OC, but clearly not Rainbow Dash. Like, this is one of the few times, like we said, that you can get away with it.
And it's
a very nice transition.
And it's a lot more possible to recreate than the other one.
Yes, that too.
It's a gradient rainbow, and I love gradients, and I love rainbows, so it works really well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's really good. I like the gradient rainbow.
Gradients.
Oh, smooth. It looks like, those Jell-O mold things that look like donuts with ridges that you find at the store?
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
And I really like how, in comparison, Quill has very defined colors in his mane. It's like, nope, this is where it stops, this is where it starts, this is where it stops again.
Yeah, it's got a...
As compared to Spectrum that kind of fades through. Like a color spectrum!
Yeah, honestly, a lot of ponies that I see named Spectrum don't have any spectrums, and this one does, so it's good. While we're on spectrums and gradients, normally I do like gradients, and the charcoal to white, or that's not white, it's like a light blue in the hooves. You can tell the very... You see the very definitive line where the dark gray stops. It's too abrupt. It needs to be more blended, like more gradients-y, if that makes any sense.
I don't like it at all. It looks gross. It's like he's trying to dye his limbs.
But I like it, but you can definitely see that definitive line between where the dark gray stops and sort of the lighter gray starts. And I think it just needs to be blended a little better to look better. It looks fine right now, but it could look better.
So, moving on from those two, we have to wrap up this episode. But first, like we do in every episode, we have to vote. So, running back through the ponies that were brought to this episode, I brought on Spectrum and Quill Inkwell by Art for Art's Sake. Soren brought on Mia and Pesto by Quill Mix. Commander, but standing in for as Medi, brought in Sweetheart and Mint
Just
Chocolate
confetti.
by Silver. That is absolutely terrible.
That actually kind of
I hate you for that.
Confetti.
Anyway, Confetti over here brought in Sweetheart and Milk Chocolate by Silverboy 27. And Smooth brought in Velvet and Ash by Blue Assassin. Going back in the same order we presented it and not voting for the same pony you brought it to the party. Soren, who do you vote for?
I have a hard time choosing. We'll just give it to Velvet and Ash because I found it a really relatable story for me, anyway. And honestly, it was pretty well laid out. Again, it was lengthy, but it covered all the bases, and it wasn't too, the story didn't get just long-winded at any points. It covered all the bases, it did what it needed to do, and yeah, relatability. That's all I got.
I am going to give my vote to Mia and Pesto.
Yes!
It just seemed to work, and I liked it.
Yeah. I'm probably going to give it to Velvet and Ash as well.
And I gotta give mine to Mint and Heart.
Very nice.
Sweetheart and Mint Chocolate. Just because I like those two. I like the colors.
Very nice.
Yay, Smooth! Thank you. Congratulations. You win this week's episode. If you have any OCs that you want to submit to the show, feel free to do so. You can submit questions and OCs to any one of the links that Medi will tell you all about now.
Yes, you can submit your OCs, your questions, your fan art, anything you want to send to us. You can send it to us at eurocsucks.deviantart.com, at eurocsucks at twitter.com, eurocsuckspodcast@gmail.com, and eurocsuckspodcast.tumblr.com.
This show is sponsored by the lovely people at patreon.com. If you want to donate at all, you can go to www.patreon.com/EuroCSucks to donate directly to the show if you feel free. The show will continue to be free for everybody who just wants to watch it on YouTube, but if you want anything from us and you want to give us a little bit, feel free to go head on over there. We've got some delightful little prizes and whatnot and things to give away for certain levels of backers.
And also, hey, do you want to make art for a EuroCSucks fan page? Well, right now there is a contest going on at the EuroCSucks fan art DeviantArt page, and it's a icon contest. Basically, the winners will be given specific prizes. There will be a first, second, and third place. All you need to do is make an icon for the EuroCSucks fan art page. This is being run by our good friend Kiki Oyawi. So feel free to submit in there, and some of the prizes are pretty great. You could win free sketches from multiple people, and also the vectored head like the ones you see right now.
Yes, they won't actually be official heads because I won't be making them, but they are almost pretty good replicas of the kind of style that we do here at the show. Kikio's been doing things like that. So if you want to do that, if you want to submit things, feel free to go ahead. But in the meantime, that is it for this week's episode. This was Couples, and this wraps up the end of our pairs block. We'll be back to doing our good and bad ponies next week with another fan-submitted episode. So that'll be a no rules, any pony can be in that one. And we'll see you all then. But in the meantime, my name is Modified Thunderbirds. I've been the host. I've been joined by...
the Time Lord, Soren One Spy.
Your fan interaction guy, Confetti.
And that one other guy who totally has a name.
And remember, your OC sucks.